Amidst the ongoing fighting on the Ukrainian front lines, an offensive operation once again demonstrated the brutality of infantry combat when troops face each other at close range. In an operation involving Ukraine's 3rd Special Operations Brigade, assault troops were reportedly moved to capture and secure defensive positions previously held by Russian forces. The battle took place in an area filled with trenches, trees, open ground, and various defensive positions prepared to withstand an attack. For troops on the front lines, every movement carried a significant risk. In such an area, open ground was more than just empty space. Open ground could become extremely dangerous when under surveillance and fire from enemy positions. Therefore, armored vehicles were used to help transport troops closer to the battle area. From a distance, the vehicles moved toward a wooded area not far from the enemy position. The atmosphere around the battlefield changed rapidly. The sound of gunfire could be heard from various directions. Smoke began to fill parts of the area as troops struggled to maintain the momentum of their attack. According to reports from the battlefield, the primary objective of the operation was to clear enemy defensive positions and ensure the area was under Ukrainian control. However, achieving this goal was not easy. Ahead of them lay a network of trenches and defensive positions that provided cover for Russian troops. Trenches are a crucial element of modern warfare in Ukraine. Simple structures dug into the ground can provide protection from various threats and provide troops with a defensive position when facing an attack. Therefore, when a trench position is successfully breached, the battle often devolves into intense close-quarters combat. The Ukrainian assault force then advances toward the defensive area. Armored vehicles play a crucial role in supporting their movement over difficult terrain. These vehicles are used not only for transportation, but also as part of efforts to provide cover for troops as they approach the contested area. However, even with armored vehicle support, the situation remains extremely dangerous. Fire can come from multiple directions. The battlefield, littered with trees and defensive structures, also makes the situation unpredictable. In these conditions, troops must constantly adapt to developments on the ground. A section of an enemy position may appear to be captured, but resistance may still be present just a few meters away. This makes clearing defensive positions one of the most risky aspects of warfare. The Ukrainian assault force then continued their movement among the trees and defensive areas. The battle unfolded in stages. One position was secured, then the troops moved to ensure there were no remaining threats in the area. Footage from the battlefield shows how the environment became extremely chaotic. The smoke, explosions, and gunfire mingled. Communication between troops became crucial to maintaining coordination amidst the constantly changing situation. On the other hand, Russian troops in defensive positions attempted to hold the area. They utilized available trenches and cover to defend against attacks. The battle then turned into a close-quarters confrontation. At this point, speed was not the only determining factor. The troops' ability to maintain coordination and hold their positions also became crucial. Every advance on the battlefield must be followed by efforts to secure the captured territory, otherwise the position can still be reconquered. This is why trench warfare in Ukraine is often so brutal. Unlike long-range combat, which relies on attacks from a distance, fighting around trenches can bring troops into very close proximity to their opponents. The sound of gunfire becomes increasingly clear. Explosions shake the surrounding area. Meanwhile, troops remaining in the rear attempt to provide support to those closer to the defensive position. After a series of engagements, Ukrainian forces finally secure control of the area. However, capturing a position does not always mean the battle is over. The area surrounding the battlefield must be inspected and secured. Troops must ensure that threats to a newly captured position have subsided before proceeding with the next phase of operations. Incidents like this offer a stark illustration of the harsh nature of modern warfare in Ukraine. Beyond the maps, front lines, and reports of troop movements lies a vastly different reality for those on the actual battlefield. Soldiers must contend with the roar of explosions, gunfire, devastated terrain, and immense psychological pressure. For them, a few hundred meters on the battlefield can mean the difference between life and death. The operation of the 3rd Special Operations Brigade also demonstrates how armored vehicles and infantry can coordinate during an assault on defensive positions. Vehicles assist in transporting troops to the combat zone, while ground forces work to seize and secure contested positions. However, every operation carries risks that cannot be fully predicted. The battlefield is constantly shifting. A situation that appears under control one moment can turn perilous the next. This is the reality faced by troops on the front lines of the war in Ukraine. The battle for a specific area might appear as nothing more than a tiny dot on a map, yet for the soldiers on the ground, that area can become the site of a battle lasting hours or even longer. Ultimately, operations like this are more than just seizing territory. It's about holding ground, protecting troops, and overcoming resistance from an adversary equally determined to defend their territory. Trench warfare in Ukraine underscores that while modern technologies such as drones, armored vehicles, and surveillance systems play a major role in the conflict, infantry remains crucial in determining who ultimately controls a position on the ground. And when troops finally storm enemy trenches and defensive positions, the engagement can shift into one of the most dangerous phases of the entire operation. Amidst the smoke, gunfire, and battlefield wreckage, Ukrainian forces strive to maintain control over the positions they have captured. Meanwhile, the war along the front lines rages on. Every operation leaves behind its own story, and every contested position serves as a reminder that despite the evolution of modern military technology, this conflict still exacts a real human toll on those at the front. This is a glimpse into one of the battles on the Ukrainian front, as assault troops attempt to clear Russian defensive positions and seize control of contested territory. It's an operation that reveals just how brutal, dangerous, and unpredictable ground combat in modern warfare can be.
Чисто.
Да.
Все, це конець?
Да.